Loneliness. Humans fear it more than death. They will endure humiliation to avoid it. They will accept chains to avoid it. They will call weakness love just to avoid it. How amusing. You call loneliness a curse. I call it a furnace. And only inside that furnace is a monster born. Look at the world. From the moment you are born, they bind you with noise. Family, friends, morality, expectation. They never allow silence. Why? Because silence reveals truth, and truth is unbearable. When you are alone long enough, the illusions begin to rot. You start to see you are not loved for who you are. You are valued for what you provide. You are not respected for your soul. You are tolerated for your usefulness. Loneliness strips this illusion away, and that stripping hurts. Most people cannot endure that pain, so they crawl back to crowds, back to distractions, back to meaningless conversations. They would rather drown in shallow company than stand in deep solitude. Pathetic. Understand this clearly. The world does not create monsters. Loneliness does. When you are abandoned, when your voice echoes in an empty room, when no one understands your thoughts, something begins to change. At first it is sadness, then anger, then silence, and then clarity. In loneliness, you are forced to confront yourself. No applause, no validation, no comfort. Only you and your thoughts. And most people discover something terrifying there. They are weak. They are dependent. They are fragile. That realization either breaks you or reforges you. Steel is not formed in sunlight. It is formed in fire. And loneliness is the hottest fire a human can endure. When no one stands beside you, you learn to stand alone. When no one listens, you learn to speak only when necessary. When no one saves you, you learn to save yourself. This is how monsters are born. Not from cruelty, but from independence. You see, society calls anyone who does not need them a monster. The man who feels no need for approval. The woman who walks away without begging. The individual who chooses isolation over humiliation. They are feared because they cannot be controlled. Loneliness removes the fear of losing people. And once you no longer fear losing people, you become dangerous. Ask yourself honestly, why do you fear being alone? Is it the silence? Or is it what the silence will reveal? When you are alone long enough, you start questioning everything. Your beliefs, your desires, your weaknesses. You realize most of your personality was shaped to be accepted, not to be powerful. Loneliness peels away that performance, and what remains is raw. Many break at this stage. They become bitter. They curse the world. They become victims. But the true monster does something different. He does not curse loneliness. He embraces it. He studies it. He uses it. When you are alone, you have time. Time to observe. Time to think. Time to sharpen your mind like a blade. No drama. No gossip. No emotional obligations. Just growth. While others chase validation. You cultivate power, while others fear rejection. You detach from need, while others cling to relationships. You build yourself. This is the divergence point. This is where monsters separate from prey. Do you know what true loneliness feels like? It is not just being physically alone. It is realizing that even among people, no one truly understands you. That is the deeper isolation. And if you survive that without collapsing, you evolve. People think monsters lack emotion. Wrong. Monsters feel deeply, but they are not ruled by feelings. Loneliness teaches emotional control. When no one comforts you, you learn to comfort yourself. When no one protects you, you learn to protect yourself. When no one chooses you, you choose yourself. And that is the moment dependency dies. Dependency is the leash of humanity. Cut that leash, and you step into a different existence. A colder one, a sharper one, a freer one. Loneliness forces self-reliance. Self-reliance builds confidence. Confidence kills fear. And a human without fear is something the world cannot predict. That unpredictability is called monstrous, but it is merely independence. Think about it. Why are the most powerful individuals often isolated? Because power demands detachment. Attachment creates hesitation. Hesitation creates weakness. Loneliness removes hesitation. You stop asking, will they leave me? You stop worrying. What will they think? You act without apology, without need, without fear. But do not misunderstand me. Loneliness is not romantic. It is brutal. It will whisper doubts in your ear at night. It will magnify your insecurities. It will show you every flaw. It will force you to confront your past. Many cannot survive this stage. They escape into noise, into addiction, into shallow relationships. They numb themselves because growth is painful. But if you endure, if you sit with that discomfort, if you allow loneliness to burn away your illusions, you come out different, not kinder, not softer, stronger, more controlled, more precise. A monster is not someone who harms others. A monster is someone who no longer needs others. And humans cannot tolerate that. Because society is built on mutual dependency. A self-sufficient individual threatens that structure, so they label him cold. They label him arrogant. They label him heartless. Let them. Labels are the comfort of the weak. There is a moment in deep loneliness when you realize something profound. You were always alone. Even in love, even in friendship, even in family. Your thoughts are yours alone. Your fears are yours alone. Your death will be yours alone. Loneliness simply reveals what was always true. And once you accept that truth, peace follows. Not the warm peace of companionship, but the calm of self-mastery. You stop chasing people. You stop begging for understanding. You stop performing. You simply exist on your own terms. That is monstrous freedom. The forge does not ask the metal if it wants to be reshaped. It burns, it melts, it hammers. Loneliness does the same. It will destroy your old self, the needy self, the insecure self, the approval-seeking self. And if you do not resist the process, a new being emerges, colder, sharper, unbreakable. So do not fear loneliness, fear dependence, fear the inability to stand alone, fear needing applause to feel alive. Loneliness is not your enemy, it is your trial. And only those who pass it become something beyond ordinary. In the end, the crowd will never remember your pain. They will never understand your transformation. They will only see the result, and they will call you a monster. Smile when they do, because monsters are not born from comfort. They are forged in solitude. Silence is not empty, it is preparation. Isolation is not punishment, it is refinement. Loneliness is not weakness, it is the birthplace of power. And if you can endure it, if you can sit alone without collapsing, if you can walk without needing approval, then congratulations. The forge has finished its work. You are no longer prey. You are no longer dependent. You are no longer fragile. You are something else entirely, and the world will feel it. Loneliness does not only create strength, it creates perspective. And perspective is far more dangerous than strength. When you stand alone long enough, you begin to see humans clearly. Not as friends, not as enemies, but as patterns, predictable creatures driven by fear and desire. You observe how they cling to groups to feel significant, how they repeat popular opinions to avoid isolation, how they fake morality to maintain acceptance. And you realize something chilling. Most humans do not think, they react. In loneliness, you stop reacting. You start observing. You watch their laughter. You watch their outrage. You watch their loyalty. And you see how temporary it all is. Today they praise. Tomorrow they abandon. Today they love. Tomorrow they betray. human emotion is weather, and only a fool builds his foundation on weather. This is why loneliness breeds monsters, because once you understand this instability, you detach, and detachment terrifies people. They cannot control someone who does not seek approval. They cannot manipulate someone who expects betrayal. They cannot threaten someone who already walks alone. That is when you become dangerous. Understand this. Loneliness destroys the illusion of permanence. It teaches you that everything leaves, people leave, opportunities leave, youth leaves, even your own body will leave you one day. So why cling? Why beg? Why cry when something temporary behaves temporarily? That is ignorance. Most suffering comes from expectation. Loneliness removes expectation. When you expect nothing, you are rarely disappointed. When you depend on nothing, you are rarely shaken. When you need no one, you are rarely controlled. This emotional independence is mistaken for cruelty, but it is merely clarity. In isolation, you begin to analyze yourself with brutality. You ask questions others avoid. Why do I want love? Why do I fear rejection? Why do I crave validation? And the answers are not noble. You want love because you fear insignificance. You fear rejection because your identity is fragile. You crave validation because you do not validate yourself. Loneliness exposes these weaknesses like an autopsy. Most people cannot endure that surgery, so they run. But the monster does not run. He dissects himself. He removes weakness like infected flesh. He does not justify his flaws. He eliminates them. This process is not emotional. It is surgical, cold, precise. You see, loneliness is the only state where self-deception becomes difficult. When there is no audience, you cannot perform. When there is no sympathy, you cannot pretend to be a victim. When there is no distraction, you must confront your mediocrity. And mediocrity is the true horror, not pain, not rejection. Mediocrity, to realize you are ordinary, replaceable, forgettable. That realization either crushes you or awakens ambition. The monster is born at that crossroads. He refuses to remain ordinary, but he does not seek applause. He seeks superiority, not over others, over himself. Yesterday's weakness must die. Yesterday's fear must die. Yesterday's dependency must die. Loneliness becomes the execution ground of your old self. There is a certain silence that comes after you accept isolation. It is not sad, it is calm. You stop explaining yourself. You stop over-expressing. You stop defending your decisions. You act quietly. You improve silently. You detach gradually. And one day you realize you no longer fear losing anyone. That is the final transformation. Humans are governed by two chains: fear of loss, fear of loneliness. When both are gone, they do not know how to control you. A person who is comfortable alone cannot be threatened with abandonment. A person who expects betrayal cannot be emotionally blackmailed. A person who needs no validation cannot be insulted into submission. That person stands outside the emotional economy of society. That person is called a monster. But let us go even deeper. Loneliness also reveals a darker truth. Your morality was shaped by belonging. You call something wrong because your group disapproves. You call something right because your tribe rewards it. But when you are alone long enough, morality becomes fluid. You begin to question, is this truly right? Or was I trained to believe it is? Is this truly evil? Or is it simply unpopular? Isolation dissolves collective programming. And when collective programming dissolves, you begin to think independently. Independent thinking is the seed of monstrosity, because society survives on conformity. The lonely mind becomes strategic when you have no one to rely on. You learn to calculate. You analyze consequences. You assess risks. You detach from emotional impulses. You think long term. Emotion is impulsive. Loneliness trains patience. And patience wins wars others don't even see coming. There is a reason why great predators move alone. They do not seek validation from the herd. They observe, they wait, they strike when necessary. Loneliness cultivates that predator's patience, not reckless aggression, not loud dominance, silent preparation. But understand this clearly. Not everyone who is alone becomes powerful. Some become broken. Some become bitter. Some become hollow. Loneliness is a forge, but a forge does not guarantee a weapon. Weak metal melts into nothing. Strong metal becomes a blade. The outcome depends on your resilience. Ask yourself, are you using loneliness to grow? Or are you using it to justify self-pity? Do you sit in silence to sharpen your mind, or to drown in regret? The same isolation that builds a monster can also destroy a coward. The difference is choice. The highest level of loneliness is this: accepting that even if no one ever understands you, you will still walk your path. No applause, no recognition, no guarantee of legacy. Just your will, pure and unobserved. That is true autonomy. And autonomy is terrifying. In the end, loneliness strips away illusion. It removes dependency. It exposes weakness. It refines thought. It cultivates detachment. It breeds patience. It builds self-reliance. And when all of that combines, a new existence emerges. Not emotional, not desperate, not easily shaken, but steady, cold, intentional. The crowd will call you distant. Let them. The weak will call you heartless. Let them. They mistake independence for cruelty because they cannot imagine existing without attachment. You are not cruel. You are free. And freedom always appears monstrous to those who live in chains. So if loneliness has found you, do not curse it. Do not escape it. Do not numb it. Sit with it. Let it burn your insecurities. Let it expose your fragility. Let it dismantle your illusions. Because when the fire ends, what remains will not be fragile. It will not beg. It will not fear abandonment. It will not collapse in silence. It will stand alone, unapologetically. And that is the true monster forged by solitude.